gentlemen, good morning. It's my pleasure to launch the panel discussion hosted by our gold sponsor CNNC for this morning. So please welcome our sponsor CNNC and the guests here on the stage.
Shall we start? Okay. Good morning, distinguished panelists and guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Xie Xiaoqin from CNNC Overseas platform. Very pleased to be the moderator today. This is my first time to meet this panelist here, so it's hard for Chinese to, to read your name very currently, If something wrong, please forgive me, okay? First, please allow me to extend our sincerely welcome to all guests and friends joining us today. WNE provides a wonderful way to show the latest nuclear technology and the diversity of competence which contributes to the whole nuclear industry in the world. I would like to thank the French nuclear industry for hosting the WNE and providing CNNC an opportunity to meet up and share ideas with the great minds from the global nuclear community. Today, the theme of this panel is the responsibility for nuclear enterprise in nuclear energy development. Now let me introduce CNNC's chairman of this panel, Mr. Wang Yongge, Vice President of CNNC Overseas Platform. He is in charge of engineering, procurement, and operation service. Then it's my great honor for me to introduce the distinguished panelists. They are Mr. Gelot from Formaton, the Director of Safety, Health, Security, Environment and Protection. Mr. Justin Hanna from SNC Lavalin, Senior Director for Marketing, Strategy, and External Relations. Mr. Robert Fletcher from Rolls-Royce, the President of Civil Nuclear Business. Mr. Chambonnier from Orano, Deputy Director of Orano Lago. Now I will pass to Mr. Wang to start our panel discussion. Thank you.
会嘉宾、女士们、先生们，
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen,
大家好！很高兴参加本届核工展，并作为主席举办中核集团的圆桌会议，与业界同仁共聚一堂，探讨核电企业在核能发展中所肩负的责任这一个议题。
good morning. I'm delighted to join WNE 2018 and serve as the chairman of CNNC panel discussion. Today, with all great minds in nuclear industry, we'll explore the responsibility for nuclear enterprises in nuclear energy development.
过去2年，世界核电业界发生了许多重大的事件，比如说法国电力集团与阿海法重组，和中国核工业集团有限公司和中国核工业建设集团有限公司复合等等。
There have been great changes in global nuclear industry in the past 2 years, including the restructuring of EDF and Arava and the merger of China National Nuclear Corporation, CNNC, and China Nuclear Engineering Corporation, CNEC, years after their separation.
中国两大核能企业重组后的新中核实现了优势的互补和业务更加多元化的发展。同时，新中核也肩负起了更多的责任，包括中国核领域供给侧结构性改革的责任，统筹发展中国3代、4代核电技术，提升技术创新，实现安全、多元化、高质量和可持续发展的责任等等。
The new CNNC will combine the strength of the two giants and have more diversified business operations. Meanwhile, it will shoulder more responsibility, such as pushing forward supply-side structural reform in nuclear sector, coordinating the development of third and fourth generation nuclear technology, strengthening technology innovation, and pursuing safe, high-quality, diversified, and sustainable development.
安全是核电发展的灵魂，保证核电安全是核电企业最基本的责任。IEA 将保护人类和环境免受电离辐射的有害影响作为最基本的安全目标。同时，在设立的10项基本安全原则当中，安全责任被列为首项责任。
Safety is the soul of nuclear power, and a fundamental responsibility of nuclear enterprises is to safeguard nuclear power safety. Protecting people and the environment from the harm of irradiation is the basic safety target of IAEA, and the safety responsibility is at the top of IAEA's 10 safety principles.
中国政府对核电的安全生产也十分重视，《中华人民共和国安全生产法》、《中华人民共和国核安全法》以及《中华人民共和国放射性污染防治法》对核电企业提出了十分严谨的安全生产要求和规定。
The Chinese government also attaches great importance to nuclear power production safety and has set stringent requirements and regulations for nuclear enterprise in the PRC law on production safety, on nuclear safety, and on prevention and control of radioactive containment.
中核集团的安全监管覆盖了从核电规划、选址、设计到建安运行的生产全过程。中核集团还通过参与国际专项评估、举办挖埩培训班等多种形式，利用国际平台开展交流合作，提高员工对安全的责任意识。
CNNC safety supervision covers the whole production process, from nuclear power planning, site selection, NPP design, construction, installation, to operation. Meanwhile, through international nuclear security assessment, WNE training course, and other activities, CNNC communicates and cooperates with global partners and constantly enhance the safety awareness and responsibility of its staffs.
2017年，中核集团6台机组获得世界核电运营协会挖埩综合指数是100分，排名世界第一，取得了秦山核电基地安全运行100堆年和田湾核电1期安全商业10周年的良好记录。
In 2017, 6 MPP units of CNNC scored 100 in WNE Composite Index, ranking first in the world. Qingshan Nuclear Power Plant has operated safely for 100 reactor years, and Tianwan MPP Phase 1 has realized 10 years of safe commercial operation.
核电企业在以核电安全为前提的同时，还需肩负着环境保护的责任。2016年，中核集团在发展圆桌会议中，以巴黎协定为契机，和各国嘉宾研讨了核电在对抗气候变化中所做出的卓越贡献。
While maintaining production safety, nuclear power businesses should also be responsible for the environment. In 2016, the year when the Paris Agreement was signed, CNNC's panel discussion focused on the contribution of nuclear power to combating climate change.
中核集团始终坚持以奉献安全、高效能源、创造清洁低碳生活为使命，将环境保护理念深入融合核电站选址、建设和运营等各个环节，为人类社会提供稳定可靠的绿色能源，促进人与自然的和谐相处。
Moreover, CNNC sticks to the mission of providing safe and efficient energy, creating a clean and low-carbon life. It has incorporated environmental protection into MPP site selection, construction, and operation, and aims to provide stable, reliable, and green energy for the harmony between human and nature.
在一些城市，燃煤采暖所生成的污染物是导致大范围区域性重污染的重要原因。针对这一问题，中核集团在2017年发布了自主研发、 可用来实现区域供热的焰龙式泳池式低温供热堆 DHR400，拥有在安全性、清洁性、经济性、可视性等各方面的优势。一座400兆瓦的焰龙低温供热堆供暖建筑面积可达到2000万平方米。
In some cities, pollutants of coal-fired heating is a major source of regional air pollution. In November 2017, CNNC launched Yanlong Pool-type district heating reactor. Being developed by CNNC independently, this reactor enjoys advantages in safety, cleanliness, economics, and adaptability. One DHR400 unit can provide heating service to an area of 20 million square meters.
中核集团以发展清洁能源为己任，不仅致力于解决中国的环境问题，也希望为更多国家在驱散雾霾、保卫蓝天的进程中发挥作用。
With the pursuit of clean energy, CNNC is dedicated to tackling China's environmental problems and expects to help other countries get rid of smog and protect the environment.
肩负经济发展的责任是核电企业的必修课之一。中核集团拥有自主3代的华龙1号以及 AP1000、坎度、VVER 等多种核电堆型。2017年实现总装机容量1434万千瓦，年发电量突破1000亿千瓦时，同比增长15.7%。
Promoting economic development is another important responsibility of nuclear power businesses. CNNC has a big range of reactors, including HPR100, which is independently developed by China, AP1000, CANDU, VVER, and etc. In 2017, the total installed capacity of CNNC's power plants reached 14.34 gigawatts, and the annual production exceeded 100 billion kilowatt hours, an annual increase of 15.7%.
2017年7月，全球首条工业规模高温气冷堆燃料元件生产线第20万个球形燃料元件成功下线，标志着中国成为首个实现高温气冷堆元件制造工业化的国家，对推进高温气冷堆核电技术商业化、提高经济效益具有重要的意义。
By July 2017, the fuel assembly production line of HTGC reactor has fabricated 400,000 ball-type fuel assemblies, which makes China the first country to put high-temperature gas-cooled reactor elements into industrial production. This achievement has great implications to the commercialization and economics of HTGC technology.
此外，与欧安诺在核环保方面的合作，将进一步提高铀资源利用效率，降低核电废物处理的成本，提高技术水平的经验积累和创新升级，让中核集团拥有足够的能力和资源承担更多的责任，带来低成本、高效益、清洁安全的核电。
Meanwhile, CNNC is working with Urano in waste management and will improve the utilization rate of uranium resources and reduce the cost of nuclear waste treatment. With more experience and constant technology development, CNNC will have greater competence and resources to take more responsibilities and provide low-cost, high-efficiency, clean and safe nuclear power.
中核集团在实现企业发展的同时，不忘人文关怀，履行社会责任。近年来，中核集团一直秉承共生、共荣、共赢、共荣的理念，围绕和你同行、点亮梦想的公益主题，每年划拨专项经费用于开展教育宣传、地方共建、关爱老人等社会活动。
While pursuing business development, CNNC also gives prominence to humanism and social responsibility. In recent years, CNNC follows the business philosophy of coexistence, win-win results, and common prosperity, and allocate money and resources for many social activities, including nuclear power education and publicity, local cooperation, and care for the aged.
今年初，向摩洛哥王国捐赠自主生产的高端大型医疗和医疗设备，为上千万居民提供最先进的放射性诊疗和治疗服务。随着自身技术和业务的多元化，中核集团希望在未来与更多国家共享核技术应用的发展成果。
At the beginning of this year, CNNC donated some large-sized nuclear medicine equipment to the Kingdom of Morocco, which can provide advanced radioactive diagnosis and treatment to tens of thousands of local people. With more diversified technology and business operations, CNNC is willing to share with more countries its achievements in nuclear technology application.
世界核电产业的发展离不开在座各位以及所有参展企业共同的努力和经营。中国提出构建人类命运共同体倡议，得到了越来越多国家和人民的欢迎和认同，并且写进了联合国重要文件。尊敬的马克龙总统也提出了要和中国合作，一同改变世界的能源格局。
The development of world nuclear power industry relies on the support and efforts of all participants here. The concept of a community of shared interests proposed by China has been written into some important UN documents and is gradually recognized by more countries and more people. President Macron has also expressed the willingness to work with China and change the global energy structure.
历史和现实无不表明，只有坚持携手合作，才能真正实现共赢多赢；只有勇于承担责任，才能共同繁荣发展。中核集团愿与世界同行共同肩负更多责任，共同为核电产业创造出充满活力的未来，共同为人类做出更大的贡献。
Ladies and gentlemen, history and reality tell us cooperation leads to win-win results and responsibility leads to common prosperity. CNNC is willing to join hands with global partners and take more responsibility so as to create a dynamic future for nuclear power and make more contribution to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. From your speech, we can see that CNNC takes great responsibility for nuclear safety, environmental protection, economic, and also for social development. Here, I also want to remind our audience, if you have any questions, please send the text to the number, and also you can visit this website to submit your question. It's true that responsibility is crucial to all nuclear enterprise, and I believe that our panelists here also would like to share their views on this topic. So, Mr. Gilot, you know, Framatome has been a key nuclear player, suppliers for decades. So, would you please share your method and experience for maintaining this nuclear safety? Please, thank you.
Okay, thank you to give me the opportunity to talk about us and what we do. So, as you know, Framatome is a new and old company because we have been in this business for years, but with the reorganization of the French operation, we joined EDF. One thing is, in Framatome, we at the same time nuclear material licenses since we manufacture fuel, but also in the supply chain, and we build new plants. For us, one thing is very important when we talk about responsibility is really safety and integrity, and we call it in our company our license to lead. It's very important for us that every employee understand that safety and integrity is a license to lead. And when we look at a lot of metrics, we have good safety track records, and more important, when we ask an employee, do they feel that safety is a real important thing for a company? 83% of people say yes, we're completely convinced that that's what our company is. Our responsibility today is very, I will talk about competencies. It takes a long time to build a nuclear plant, and people are retiring, we have newcomers, and it's very important to do good knowledge management. And we decided to start a program on knowledge management to be a key player and be people want to benchmark us in the future, that how we do our knowledge management, because it's very important for new generation. We also have the responsibility to bring new technology in our business. We're working on digital transformation, which is, for me, a very important thing. And also, what's important when talk about competency is have the opportunity and the capacity to be long-term partnership, because nuclear industry is not a flavor of the week industry. It's really long-term, and it's very important that when we go somewhere and we build and we develop the local supply chain, but we also have the opportunity to build this long-term partnership that will allow to bring safety to the plants. The other thing I'd like to talk about is about nuclear safety culture. It was very important for me when I look at it. It's obvious when you're a nuclear licensee, when you operate a nuclear power plant, everybody understands why nuclear safety culture is so important. But when you go down in the supply chain, for example, we purchased Le Creusot, and we know we had some issues on quality on Le Creusot. When we look at it, what we could have done better is be sure that as soon as we brought this company on board, we address nuclear safety culture in this company, because that's important that every employee working in the nuclear industry has the right nuclear safety culture. And in fact, we decided to develop the outside of their operation the independent oversight. Independent oversight is well known and well used in the nuclear industry, but we are convinced that we need to have oversight, including in our manufacturing plants when we build our equipment. And the last thing I will talk about our responsibility. In fact, we have lots of technology, we have lots of bricks we can bring, so people can think to the safety INCs that Framatome is producing and that can be installed at different type of nuclear plant. Also, the primary pumps that can also be used on not only on the EPRs, but we have lots of solutions, and one of our responsibilities is to be sure that people understand what's our solution portfolio, and they can see what Framatome can bring to the nuclear industry to improve safety and reliability. So that's what I would share today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gallet. So, as we know, social responsibility, including public acceptance, has always been a complicated issue in nuclear industry. So, Mr. Hanna, as an outstanding global company, SNC and is very successful in fulfilling its social responsibility. Would you please briefly introduce your practice for us?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, bonjour, daja hao. For SNC-Lavalin, social responsibility is something we take very seriously, and it's embedded within the culture and fabric of our organization. Just briefly on SNC-Lavalin, we're a Canadian company, a global EPC company, but also one of the premier nuclear engineering and technology companies in the world. Over the past few years, we have been making a number of strategic acquisitions. In 2011, we acquired Atomic Energy of Canada Limited, and in 2017, we acquired Atkins UK, a premier engineering company. Those acquisitions have positioned us quite uniquely in the nuclear world, and we operate primarily in 3 geographies: Canada, the United States, and the UK, with activities in Asia Pacific, Latin America, and the Middle East. So, as a global company that operates in primarily very mature markets, it's imperative that we play a leadership role in being a socially responsible company. Now, social responsibility can be defined in many different ways by many different organizations. When we look at it as a global EPC company that not only operates within nuclear, but operates within oil and gas, mining, infrastructure, we look at it from a much broader perspective. Our founding values, or our new values that we live by, are safety, integrity, collaboration, and innovation. And so those principles are what we draw upon when we look at the social responsibility we have as an organization. For example, local economic impact whenever we have a project, whether it's a nuclear project or a mining project or an oil and gas project, is paramount in what we do as an organization. We look at it, we measure it, we report on it, and it's something that is demanded by all of our stakeholders all the way up to our board of directors. We're also very important and key with transparency. And this is in the context of the journey that SNC-Lavalin has made over the past 5 years with ethics and compliance, something that we have taken very seriously for past activities that have happened. And we have now instilled a world-class ethics and compliance program and see ourselves as actually a global leader in that area. So I would just say that from a social license perspective, these are the values that we push upon. Within the context of nuclear, one of the things that I think is very important is maintaining social license. Social license is something that I think is very fragile within the nuclear community. Even in mature nuclear countries, it's something we cannot take for granted. China is an example of a country where nuclear has been accepted but should not be taken for granted in terms of how the general population views it, in terms of our transparency, our integrity, and our approach to safety. When it comes to social license, that's something that we engage the general public on various fronts. And the result of that has been a very high level of engagement and social acceptance and social license within Canada. Polling results show that acceptance of nuclear power in regions where it's used is in the range of 60 to 70%, which is quite high in a very developed country where trust in institutions can sometimes be challenged. And so I would say one of the things that we need to do is continue to speak our voice and speak our message, not only to nuclear venues like this where sometimes we get accused of talking to each other a bit too much, but bring our message to the rest of the world. An example I'll cite is Canada's leadership role in the Clean Energy Ministerial Conference that just happened recently in Copenhagen. Canada, with a few other select countries, has put forward the proposition that nuclear needs to play a very integral role in the clean energy future that the world needs to have. And we would invite other countries to join us in that conversation, like the UK, like France, like China, to continue to push that. Because we know that as part of our responsibility, both to the general public and to the next generation of this industry, it's going to be important that we be engaged and we be open and we be transparent with everyone that will be accepting us, and hopefully they'll be doing that with open arms. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hanna. In recent years, you know, this world economics just happened very hardly for these fluctuations. So, Mr. Fletcher from Rolls-Royce, would you please talk about your plan to promote economic development in nuclear industry?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, everybody, and thank you, Mr. Wang, for inviting us here today. I think we're fairly simple folk. We only want really three things as a supply chain in the nuclear industry. We want economic attractiveness and sustainability. We need to be competitive against other energy forms. We need some predictability. We need to be able to plan our investments and see the future and make sure that we can respond to the developments. And then finally, we need access to good skills. We need the new skills, the new generations coming through to be able to help us develop our businesses for the future. So in Rolls-Royce, I'm going to touch on four things that we're doing really around that. I'll start with the people side. We work very closely with local communities to engage with young people on the science, technology, and maths subjects, make sure that they're interested. And also we talk to them about nuclear. And I think a good point made earlier about trying to come out of the shadows as nuclear and talk about a safe industry which is low carbon and essential for future economic development is something we haven't done enough of. But we also work very closely with government to develop small, medium-sized enterprises to look at how we can attract them into nuclear, because they're going to bring innovation. They're going to bring different ways of doing things that we don't see at the moment, and they're going to bring different ideas. And of course, working with government as well is around looking at the long-term viability of the nuclear industry and making sure that there's a strategy that allows the whole of industry to work together so that actually we can make it stronger. And there will be announcements today from the UK government, for example, on that. Secondly, I think we need to see greater predictability and greater commonality in some of the fleets and the platforms. At the moment, there's a lot of variation, there's a lot of unpredictability around, certainly on the large new build. So actually, we believe fundamentally that SMRs has the opportunity to transform that by productionizing and standardizing an approach that actually makes not just good economic sense, but allows that predictability for the supply chain and ourselves to be able to plan and invest for the future. But I think also it's going to, SMRs has the ability to be able to make nuclear much more accessible globally than perhaps some of the large reactors. So I think it's a complementary technology. I think it is something that we, as you know very well, that we are pursuing. Thirdly, I'd like to talk about transforming operational performance. And operational performance is a real challenge for us certainly in certain regions. Particularly in the US, it's a huge issue with the not being competitive against particularly shale gas. So how do we transform nuclear operations to be much more competitive and sustainable? And I think bringing in new techniques like advanced analytics, AI, but actually coupling those with new operating models for operators is going to be absolutely critical. And we've started to do that. We're working with Bruce on that and others, but I know other people are doing the same. But I think that is what's going to be not just create a more efficient operating model, but actually is going to be make it more attractive for the new generation of people coming in to see an industry that's getting out of the 70s and the 80s and into the 21st century in the way that it does things. I think just finally, Mr. Wang talked about this, collaboration. And I think collaboration within the nuclear industry is really critical. And certainly at Rolls-Royce, we're increasing the level of collaboration. We know that there are people out there who can do things better, do them smarter, faster. But I think also collaboration with other industries as well is important to bring the lessons learned from that. I mentioned earlier about data analytics. We are stealing that from the aerospace industry, that approach. It's already been used for 20 plus years. So I think we're increasingly going to see collaboration and standardization and hopefully make us a much more attractive industry for the future, for the next generation of people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fletcher. Now we operate 450 nuclear power reactors at this moment. So the world is facing an urgent need for better nuclear waste management. So Mr. Chambonnier, would you please share with us Orano's approaches to fulfill the environmental protection responsibility? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Wan, to invite us. And good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to remind that Orano is a company which is involved in a fuel cycle for more than 50 years and also has activities in dismantling and services. That means that we handle a lot of waste, and we know that waste management requires a daily attention first. Then, during such a long time, we also know that nuclear safety and environmental protection respect is Orano's priority. So everybody knows that Orano promotes fuel recycling also in the La Hague plant and Melox plant. And that is our approach of handling the fuel cycle in which you have the most of active waste. This approach of fuel treatment consists firstly in limiting the volume and radioactivity of the final waste by recovering the content of the spent fuel in order to produce electricity again. In average, more than 96%, around 96% of the content of spent fuel is recyclable. For instance, today in France, 10% of the electricity comes from the plutonium recovered in spent fuel, and thanks to the building of new MOX fuel. That means that 1 in 10 of these light bubbles that illuminates us thanks to the plutonium coming from recycling of plutonium in La Hague plant in France. So, recycling spent fuel can economize around 25% of natural uranium resources. That's important. At the same time, it reduces significantly the volume and the radiotoxicity of the final waste. The volume is roughly divided by 5 compared to a direct storage of spent fuel, and radiotoxicity by 10. Of course, if you know, after 200 or 300 years, the main radiotoxicity in the spent fuel is the plutonium. So we recover, it's more than 90% of the radiotoxicity. We recover the plutonium to make again electricity. That is a good way to have less radiotoxicity in the final storage. Another approach of, another point of spent fuel treatment consists also in concentrating as much as possible the non-reusable material in solid and stable form for long-term management. The quasi-totality of the radioactivity in the spent fuel is incorporated in a glass matrix, borosilicate, and poured in a stainless steel canister. You can see a mock-up at the stand of Orano, for instance, at size 1. And also this containment for thousands is stable for thousands of years in order to protect man from radiation. We can find similar kind of glasses in naturally that fixed oxide. You can find it, it's called obsidian. They have confined oxide during millions of years. This is what we think we will want to do with nuclear waste. And this is, for me, the best existing solution for good conditioning for long term of nuclear waste. Just to say, the remaining metallic structure of the fuel is compacted also and poured in pellets in the same canister. So currently, the canister are temporarily stored on the facility in pits, ventilated by natural ventilation. That is nothing, just awaiting. And to give an idea, the surface of land needed to store the glass canister for 5 years of production in France of electricity by nuclear pounds is around 600 square meter, which is not so huge volume and surface needed to store such kind of waste. Another important point for Orano is of our activity is the online packaging of waste. This is very important. So if it's waste coming from the industrial process or for dismantling, it's very important to package it online. Why? Because when possible, this packaging is done in a solid form in accordance when it existing with the final storage agreement. And so this avoids to have in a facility accumulation of waste which is not packaged in a long-term and stable form. And finally, our responsibility is also regarding the public. So each year we communicate a waste inventory in our plants to ensure transparency to public, which is also important to gain, I think, public acceptance. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all the panelists, for sharing the excellent opinions with us. Now is 10:10, so I think we left 20 minutes for the question and answers. So I noticed that because our panel is start very early, so in this time, I noticed many audience just come in. So if you have interest or some questions, please send your text or visit this website to submit your question. So let's see the question. If we have some. So the first one is coming. This is what achievements have Rolls-Royce made in SMR development, and what are the challenges? I think. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Well, in terms of achievements, I mean, you'd probably be surprised to hear that Rolls-Royce, as really predominantly an engineering company, has focused less on the engineering of the reactor and more on innovating around how we deliver and put together an SMR program, and particularly the innovation around the civil nuclear, because the reactor side is only about 20% of the cost. So the achievements we made really are in pulling together an overall consortium with some key partners who bring expertise, who are also investing in innovating and how they deliver the civil nuclear elements of it, how they protect the site from environmental conditions during development, etc. So we now have, I think, a very credible opportunity in front of us, and indeed we've managed to now sell that to the UK government in terms of a concept, which helps, I think, broadly for the SMR market in the UK and gives us a platform potentially internationally. So the challenges going forward will always be, there will be competitors for us in Rolls-Royce on SMRs, we know that. And we are still very heavily dependent on government support and government policy. And I mentioned earlier, we expect to see today announcements by the UK government around making the SMR market much more accessible for us. And then I think what we need to see is, as we go forward, is getting that international interest and perhaps maybe seeing some harmonization and around some of the regulatory conditions that allow us to more efficiently take SMR technology abroad.
Okay, thank you. CNNC is also developed our own SMR. It is ACP 100, and we hope we'll get the approval at the end of this year for FCD in Hainan province, we hope. I always talk with our friend inside of China, also internationally. I think in the world, the nuclear industry, the player, is just one family. Sometimes we are competitor, but sometimes we need to cooperate together. Just like I have been in London, and I discussed with Rolls-Royce many times. We try to establish this kind of cooperation. Maybe we can learn each other and share our experience each other. I think this is the best way, just like you mentioned, this is cooperation. Okay, thank you. So let's move to the next question, if we have. Okay, here is coming. This SNC is developing AFCR, as we know. And what's your plan for the spent fuel management or the treatment?
Okay. So SNC-Lavalin, in collaboration with CNNC, is developing a reactor concept known as the Advanced Fuel CANDU Reactor. The AFCR builds off of a very robust and proven platform of the CANDU technology that's been successfully exported to 5 continents. What the innovation really is utilizing the unique heavy water reactor technology that's embedded in CANDU to utilize both recycled uranium in the near term and thorium type fuel in the future. Recycled uranium, utilization of recycled uranium fuel is a very compelling concept. Our friends at Urano, who are the experts in recycling nuclear spent fuel, have created a situation where there is an opportunity to utilize RU, or REPU as some would call it, in both existing reactors and new reactors such as the AFCR. The concept behind the AFCR is really to utilize REPU that would come out of China's large-scale recycling program that they have envisioned in the future. And what that will do is really have three benefits, in our opinion. One, it will maximize energy extraction from uranium that China imports. Two, it will reduce overall spent fuel volumes of both the light water reactor program and the recycling program by up to 30%. And three, it will really address one of the biggest challenges our industry has always had, which from our detractors, which has been dealing with spent fuel. By utilizing this concept, we put another piece into the overall scheme of closing the fuel cycle. That's something all of us in the nuclear industry have been aspiring for decades. And we believe that the AFCR concept is a very complementary piece within the overall program that can work in synergy with light water reactors and fast reactors in a program as large scale and as forward-looking as China.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hanna. You know, CNNC start the cooperation with Candu Energy since 1990s, and this Qinshan Phase 3 power plant, the achievement we made is very excellent in the world. We continue to discuss this kind of cooperation with you, I think, since this last 2 or 3 years. Even for Mr. Wang Yongge, also has been in Canada many times. We hope we can, find a way to work together and cooperate together. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So let's move to the next questions. I think this question is for Pharmaton. The question is, except for EPR, does Pharmaton plan to design a new reactors with better safety features and economics?
It looks it's for me. First, I would say very proud of the success of starting the EPR, which is the first Gen 3 Plus, and it's really a French and Chinese success to be able to start this plant. I would also say even Finland, because the EPR benefits for all the experience of the other one that were built in France and Finland. When I look at the safety feature, because of the question I see safety feature, there are already lots of safety feature in the EPR, and we look at it when we take all the post-Fukushima return of experience. The EPR was already addressing all the issues. So I think our responsibility is not to bring new things every day. It's really use experience, because when you build a nuclear reactor, you want to have a large fleet, so we benefit for operating experience. So it's not as soon as you start to finish the first EPR that you want to think what the next reactor would be. So it's very important that we take the experience of the 4 EPR that we build and the new one that we start in the UK. So we share our experience and we make it reliable, economic, and safe. So that's very, very important. And the economics is really will be coming from this return of experience, because we all know it's very difficult when you do something for the first time. especially with such a huge project. But our teams are working at bring all together the information and build the EPR that will be used for the French fleet, but also be using abroad. And last thing I would say is for us, which it is not in a question, but one thing it's important as we are designing is how we bring on board all new technology, and we have a very large program of digital transformation, because building is one thing, but also maintenance and working in these plants, and that's where one of the big programs is on the digital transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Guénot. I think I totally agree with your opinion. You know, even for us, we start the building of this Hualong 1000 in Fuqing 5 and 6, but we are going to construct in Zhangzhou and many another sites in China. So we think we need to follow this kind of method and the principle, just based on the experience. We improve it, not just invent the new technology. I think this is thinking is the same like us. So let's move to the next questions if we have. Here we come. This question I think is for Orano. Yes, this question is, besides what you have mentioned before, what other aspects do you think we need to focus on in order to achieve nuclear excellence in this new era?
Being responsible, I think a nuclear professional needs to try to reach excellence. And for that, first of all, we recognize that nuclear safety is the first goal to achieve in operation. In safety, it's never enough, in other words. Impact also of plants running in normal operating must be as low as possible and close to zero impact. So for instance, for the Orano recycling plant, which recycle roughly around 35,000 tons of spent fuel, since he recycle oxide fuel, of course. The impact is lower than 1% of the natural average exposure coming in France, which is 2.9 millisievert. That means it's less than 1% or 2.9 millisievert. So it's quite the same added exposure than you have when you come from Beijing to France. It's lower than that. It's lower than Beijing to New York. It's a very low impact, yearly impact. It's also important to always try to decrease as much as reasonable achievable the exposure of our workers. The average exposure allowed by the French law, for instance, is 20 millisievert a year. It's two abdominal scan by worker working on the radiation situation. And at La Hague plant, for Orano first, our internal goal is 14 millisievert a year. It's not 20. We do that. Nobody is higher than 14 millisievert. And to give an example, for our plant where we handle a lot of waste, we recycle, we have dismantling, we use a lot of subcontractors. For instance, last year, the highest dose for one guy was less than 4 millisievert a year, which is very, very low, compared to the 20 also millisievert, and considered as a very low dose for the French authority. Waste management, of course, solution must be found for everything, for every waste we have, for long-term stable packaging. This is important. What is important also that operation have to be safe. That means that all the plant must be first well designed, with taking into account all kind of risks we can find internal risk, risk coming from people, risk coming from the natures. So must be taken into account at the design stage. And that make that we pour for low-level active. We have always, for instance, 3 barriers, liable barriers between the material, the nuclear material, and outside, which is completed with a dynamic containment system. We need also to have safe operations through the people with competence management of the people. It's very important. Staff knowledge and capability to guarantee a good safety culture in our team. It's very important also. It's very important to be always, as I said before, in a continuous way of improvement. That's very important, taking into account, I think, the feedback of the small event you can face, taking also some improvement methods, like TPM or something like this, to always are in operational, and Orano asks for each team to be in operational excellence everywhere to make a very good performance for safety, for everything, in fact. That is all our policy also. Of course, quality of the final packaging of waste and safety must be a priority for all plants. That's clear. You need also to have an open mind to explain to general public what you do, especially for locally. That means to imply transparency. That's important to consequently gain the public acceptance. You cannot run without safety and without acceptance. So we work on that, and excellence need that also. And I think that finally, you have also to take into account the aging of the facilities. That means make it under control with new technology, with measurement devices, which was not always foreseen at the beginning. So it's always to improve that kind of material. And you need to dismantle very quickly, I think, after the end of operating, because you need to maintain people knowledge of the facility during that kind of activities. That's, for me, for us, I think, the most important point we have to achieve to go to excellence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think the time is just 2 minutes. So for the time limitation, as a project, our panel, I think this schedule control is very good. Very good. So let's close in this panel. Thank you very much for the panelists and for all the audience. It has been a fruitful honor for all of us. I hope we can keep in touch and made this cooperation happen in the future. Here, I just want to sincerely invite the panelists and also all the audience. If you have time, please come to China and visit CNNC. It's better to go and to see what happened in China, what happened for Chinese nuclear industry. I think, I hope we can find this kind of opportunity to work together, to share our experience, to take the full responsibility for nuclear industry. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Okay. Bye.